Varmt välkomna ska ni vara till Nordicons railseminarium. Jag heter Linus Ahlm, jag är VD och en av grundarna till Nordicon-gruppen. Sitter ni bra förresten alla? Ni kan inte sitta dåligt i en biosalong. Det är bara popcornen som saknas, så hade det känts fulländat. I will switch into English now. We have some English speaking guests here, so I will do the rest of the whole seminar will be held in English actually. So now we will spend 1 hour together. We will focus on talking about rail between China and Europe. And the purpose with this arranging this rail seminar in total is to highlight the advantages with rail. Maybe also compared to ocean and air freight a bit. And we also want to share information with you that we have learned during our journey, building up the rail product that we have today. We will look at the agenda. I will stand over here, I think. The agenda for today is that after my short little introduction speech here, we will welcome the Consul General of China, Mr. Gu Hui, to the stage. He will talk a little bit more on the Belt and Road Initiative from Chinese perspective, and also how the new Silk Road development will impact the trade between Europe and China. Then we have a rail partner in Finland called Nurminen Logistics. And we have both Miss Marjut Linnajärvi and Mikko Järvinen. And they will tell us more about the service from Hefei to Helsinki and how that is bringing advantages to us in the Nordics. Nurminen is of course here also for a reason to promote the service via Finland and to prove to us what they can commit to the Nordic market. Last but not least, myself and Tommi Antikainen, which is our regional rail manager, situated in Helsinki also. We will show you the Nordicon rail product and how we do this. What advantages we can offer as the leading neutral rail company in the Nordics. Then, if there is time, which I hope there is, we can have a short Q&A where you can already now prepare your questions. We might have 5 or 6 or 7 minutes or something for that purpose later on. A short introduction. Rail connection between East and West is of course nothing new. Everyone knows there has been rail connections for more than 100 years. The Trans-Siberian Railroad across Russia and many other rail links has also crossed the continents. So why has the rail become such a viable option in the past 5 to 6 years? And of course it all started in 2013 when the Chinese government rolled out the belt, it was first called the One Belt, One Road initiative, which is, we will probably hear more about that later. At that exact time, 2013, we had an employee stationed in Shanghai who experienced a lot of the new initiative from the Chinese government, and he reported back home that this is the new thing. We got very curious about it, and we tried to sell this, implement this to the local market already in 2013. But the interest was very weak, I must say. So we had to put it aside. And then in 2015, we took it up again, and we saw the huge potential in the rail development. And we decided already then that it would be a core product for Nordicon. If you're looking a little bit on volumes, what has happened since 2013, it was only around 25,000 TEUs moved on the rail. It was very small. Now in 2018, it's close to 400,000 TEUs. And in the coming 4 to 5 years, it's expected to increase with more than 1 million TEUs. There is certainly going to be some challenges in order to achieve that. I just listed a few of them. Some of the topics that might be very interesting right now. There is a lot of discussion about the Chinese government subsidies of the rail. And there are indications saying that within 2 to 3 years, they will be reduced with 30 to 40%. And that will certainly have an impact on the growth on the rail. even after 6-7 years, they should vanish completely, and the rail product should stand on its own legs, so to say. We'll see if Mr. Gui will touch this subject, I don't know, but this is something that the whole market is discussing in Europe right now. How will this impact the rail? Then you have the equipment imbalance, which is also certainly an obstacle, you can say. There is a lot more westbound, and those rail platforms needs to go back to China. So that is an obstacle in itself. You need to handle that one. The CIQ, Chinese Import Quarantine Commodity Restrictions, is also something which is leaving certain industries and products on the sideline from the rail. The car industry is one example, where batteries for cars, for example, is a restricted commodity. You cannot load that on the rail. If that opens up, it's going to open up a completely new market as well. And the same goes for many different foodstuffs, etc., etc. Market consolidation of rail hubs. Today, the last figure I heard is that there is something between 50 and 60 rail hubs in China. And also in Europe. They are building up rail hubs in Europe as well. And what people are saying is that there will be a market consolidation. There will be less hubs, and that will put more pressure on the logistics infrastructure to support the rail hubs. These are just few examples on the challenges that this industry might meet in the near future, but the potentials, they are huge. And there are so many benefits using the rail versus other transport modes. Okay, Mr. Gui. It's a great privilege for us to have the General Consul of China, Mr. Gu Hui, here. So give him a hand, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Linus Ahlm. First, I will talk about why I am here. Actually, I was asked this question by a journalist just a few minutes ago. I am the Consul General of the Chinese Consulate General in Gothenburg, and it is one of our Consulate General's major task or daily job to promote the trade relations between China and Sweden. And we can help you with the visas. We can help you and give you our interpretations of the Chinese policies, like some of the policies Linus just pointed out. And we can also, in a way, to help you to, in some cases, to create connection with Chinese potential partners. So that's the reason I am here to make my presentation, in which I will do my best to try to give you a picture of 3 questions. Why the initiative? What are the opportunities? And how to join the circle of friends of the Cooperation of Belt and Road. But we are diplomats, and we are not experts in the specific business. So I will give my vision of interpretation of the Chinese point of view of the Belt and Road Initiative, of the operation of the China-Europe Railway Express. So, and I have prepared a text. Well, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, my colleague and I am very pleased to participate today's event and to share my opinions with you on how to further deepen the logistic cooperation between China and the Nordic countries under the framework of the Belt and Road Initiative. Chinese President Xi Jinping proposed the Belt and Road Initiative in 2013, calling for the common building of a community of shared destiny of mankind and an open, inclusive, clean, and beautiful world that shares lasting peace, universal security, and common prosperity. This proposal is inspired by a global perspective and a deep-rooted commitment to peace and harmony in Chinese civilization. It is in line with the needs of our times and the trend of the world. The proposal is thus highly recognized and commended by the international community and demonstrated a strong vitality. 6 years after President Xi Jinping put forward the Belt and Road Initiative, the circle of friends of the Belt and Road has become larger and larger. The quality of cooperation is getting better and better, and the prospects for the development are getting brighter and brighter. More than 130 countries and 30 international organizations have signed the Belt and Road cooperation agreements with China. But it's a pity that Sweden is yet not one of the 130 countries. In April this year, the second Belt and Road International Cooperation Summit was successfully held in Beijing. Nearly 40 heads of state and government and 5,000 foreign guests from more than 150 countries and more than 90 international organizations attended the meeting, and the total volume of signed cooperation agreements were more than 64 billion US dollars. These figures show that the Belt and Road Initiative is in line with the needs of all parties, as well as the initiative is a peaceful, cooperative, and open one. This October is the 70th anniversary of the People's Republic of China. Over the past 70 years, under the leadership of the Communist Party of China, great achievements have been made by the Chinese people. Economically, China becomes world's second largest economy. Socially, China has lifted over 700 million people out of poverty. Environmentally, according to the research fellows from Gothenburg University, the burden to the environment starts decreasing while the Chinese economy is still uprising. China's great achievements in development and its sincere willingness to share its rich experience are the background for the proposal of the Belt and Road Initiative, and also provide a solid foundation for the success of the Belt and Road Cooperation. China and Europe are at both ends of the Euro-Asian continent. Europe is a natural partner of high quality for the Belt and Road Cooperation. Early in this year, on the 9th of April, the joint statement of the 21st China-EU Summit reaffirmed that the two sides will continue to promote China's Belt and Road Initiative and the EU's Euro-Asian Connectivity Strategy, the Pan-European Transport Network docking, and welcome the signing of the China-EU Joint Study Framework Agreement on sustainable railway-based access to the China-EU connectivity platform. As an EU member, Sweden's participation in the Belt and Road Cooperation has many favorable conditions. As early as in 1739, the famous Gothenburg ship sailed to China and linked China and Sweden and Europe. On the 9th of May 1950, Sweden became the very first Western country that established diplomatic relations with the People's Republic of China. Today, Sweden is the largest trade partner of China in the Nordic region. According to the Chinese statistic, last year, the bilateral trade volume reached a record high to $17.1 billion US dollars, with an increase of 15%. Among them, China's exports to Sweden was 8.2 billion. Imports were 8.9 billion. China and Sweden has broad prospects for cooperation, and deepening our cooperation under the framework of the Belt and Road Initiative will certainly provide Swedish companies more business opportunities. The operation of the China-Europe Railway Express is an important step to connect Asia and Europe, and of transformative significance. From 2013 to 2018, China invested nearly 90 billion US dollars in countries along the Belt and Road route, built more than 30 cooperation zones in these countries, and created more than 300,000 local jobs. Last September, a China-Europe Railway Express loaded with 900 tons of spruce timber set off from Dalarna, Sweden, to Ganzhou, Jiangxi Province, China. The trip covered a total distance of 14,000 kilometers and reached Ganzhou after 19 days. Just 10 days ago, on the 21st October, a spokesman from China's National Development and Reform Commission said at a press conference that China-Europe Railway Express had become an important carrier for deepening practical cooperation among countries along the route. The improvement of efficiency was highlighted in the following three areas. First, the scale of the freight lines continues to expand. Since the initiative was put forward, the China-Europe Railway Express has developed rapidly with an average annual growth rate of 133%, and a total 18,000 trains transported nearly 1.6 million TEU. Today, more than 110 cities across the Asian Europe continent are connected by the China-Europe Railway Express, and the distribution network has been established. Second, the quality of the operating service has been significantly improved. The empty containers rate decreased remarkably. Now, a comprehensive heavy container rate reaches 92%. Among them, the trips to Europe are basically heavy containers, while the return trips heavy containers rate increased to more than 80%. The operational security environment has improved significantly. The average inspection and custom clearance time has been reduced by 50%. Third, the scope of the freight business continues to expand. Freight goods from the mobile phones, computers, and other IT products in the beginning now expanded to clothing, mechanical and electrical equipment, food, and wood. Also, vehicle import and export is becoming a new growth point. China-Europe Railway Express achieved the normality of postal transport. Door-to-door transportation, special transportation, and other new service models continue to emerge. Over the past 5 years, China-Europe Railway Express has promoted the connectivity and the economic development in the countries along the route, brought tangible benefits to the local people, and become a widely recognized symbol for participating in the Belt and Road Corporation. Next, China will further improve the service of the China-Europe Railway Express. The National Development and Reform Commission will establish and improve the high-quality development indicator system for the China-Europe Railway Express. Will further improve the mechanism of international cooperation, strengthen policy communication and coordination, strengthen security and environmental cooperation, and continuously improve the inspection and custom clearance. I sincerely hope that with the joint efforts of the delegates presented today, more and more China-Europe Railway Express lines will be opened, so that the trade cooperation between China and Sweden, China and Northern Europe will go faster, wider, and more prosperous. Finally, I would like to briefly introduce the upcoming China International Import Expo in Shanghai. The China International Import Expo was personally proposed, deployed, and promoted by President Xi Jinping. The Import Expo will be held in Shanghai from November the 5th to the 10th every year. President Xi Jinping attended the first Import Expo last year and announced that he would attend this year's too. At the first Import Expo, 15 Swedish companies participated with a total exhibition area of nearly 2,700 square meters. This year's Import Expo also attracted many Swedish companies. China, with its large market of nearly 1.4 billion people and huge consumption potential, is expected to import more than 30 trillion US dollars in goods and 10 trillion US dollars in service over the next 15 years. This will provide abundant business opportunities worldwide. Well, I hope I had somehow answered the 3 questions in my presentation, namely, why the Belt and Road Initiative, what are the opportunities, how to join the Circle of Friends. Well, ladies and gentlemen, to my opinion, if you could have more information, more connection, more cooperation, and most of all, have visions and never let any clouds overshadow your vision, then you should find the answer by yourself. And please note that the Chinese Consulate General in Gothenburg is willing to offer you all the assistance inside our range. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was good information and a lesson in history at the same time. Thank you. So now we will switch speakers on the stage and we will listen to Nurminen Logistics. They will, of course, focus on the rail service from Hefei to Helsinki. And also, for those of you who don't know the company, they will shortly introduce the company as well for you.
Okay. Seems to be working.
Yeah. Here we are.
Okay, thank you. Hej, jag heter Mikko Järvinen. Jag kommer från Nurminen Logistics in Helsinki. Jag har en liten hemlighet. Jag kan inte tala svenska. Är det möjligt att vi ska fortsätta på engelska? Okay, thank you. That was the scariest moments of last month because I had no sentences beyond that one. So that was a close call. Thank you. Yeah. First of all, I won't take too much of your time with the company presentations, but because I'm quite sure that not everybody knows about Nurminen, I will tell few words. But it's been mostly on the train, and like you said, please make questions at the end if you have any comments or questions to make, because this is quite practical in that sense that we have been doing this China train for a while. We have some experiences. Yeah. But first, follow us. There's always going to be quite a lot of information in Twitter and in LinkedIn. We might be telling that train is early or train is late or whatever, and if you want to follow what's happening with the train, you can find us here. Secondly, I would like to introduce you a few other persons who are also here. Marjut, please join us. Yeah. Come on. Marjut is our Ms. Train. She has been running the whole show for about 1 year now, and she knows everything about it. I know the top layer, but when it goes to the real details, she's the person. So she knows everything about it. And we also invite you to link with all of us, including Marjut, myself, and then Harri. Harri is also in the sales of the rail services and joined us also for that. And now we have to release him for the photographing duties because there's so many of you that we want to have some memories. Okay, quickly recapping the Nurminen story. We have been established in 1886, which is way before Finland was established. So in Finnish scale, something that was established in the last 18th century, that's ancient. That's like really, really old. We have about 80 million turnover. We are a stock exchange company. We have been listed in 2008, and we have 5 daughter companies. We are now established in 5 countries with our own personnel: Finland, also in China, and in the Baltics, Latvia and Lithuania, and in Russia. The Russian business, the Eastern business, has always been a kind of a backbone of Nurminen Logistics in the long run. So we have a lot of experience there. We are offering basically 4 kind of main categories of services. We are doing freight forwarding, which means that we are offering services for the freight forwarders. We are doing custom clearance and stuff like that between the Finnish and Russian border and that kind of expertise. So we are not a freight forwarder. We are offering services for the freight forwarders. We have terminal services, mainly located in the Finnish ports and in the eastern border against Russia. We have project logistics because there's quite a lot of this kind of a heavy machinery building and stuff like that in Finland and Nordics, all in all, that we are doing different kind of project deliveries to Russia. For example, if somebody is buying a paper mill, it could be something that we are trucking with 150 or 200 trucks to there or whatever. And then we have these rail freight services, which is the thing that we are talking today. So in the rail freight, our history is heavily connected to the Russian rail. We used to have a separate company in Russia owning hundreds of wagons there, and we have been playing in that market for years and years. It's about 1.5 years ago when we sold those wagons out, and we are now renting those. So we basically, released our capital from owning the equipment, but we are still continuing the business there, and we have the office in Russia as well. But because of this, we have of course been for many years, 4 or 5 years or something, our board of directors has been working on the idea of getting on board with this Chinese Belt Road initiative with our own train. And it really has taken some time. Our first train was last year, November. So it took several years to build all the connections, all the practicalities that you have to have in place before you can operate it. And our train is really operated by ourselves, and it's our business risk that we are carrying with the train. So this is what we are doing. We are driving from Helsinki to Hefei and the other way around. This end, of course, is quite familiar with all of you geographically, that Helsinki is located where it is located, and we have quite good connections with ferries to other Nordic countries. We even have connections to the, let's say, Rotterdam area. We have good connections to the Baltics, and that's more like familiar for all of us. On the other end, Hefei is located in Anhui province. It's about 400 kilometers from Shanghai. So the quite important Shanghai Suzhou, this area where there's a lot of Western companies located, is nearby in their terms. Of course, 500 kilometers in China is like in the next door neighbor. Bit different in Finland. And that's our route. And I will show you later on about the schedules. And it's here. So we are doing every second week a train from Helsinki to Hefei, and every second week train from Hefei to Helsinki. Marjut, what were the dates? Was it Friday leaving and Saturday leaving?
We have eastbound departure is always on Friday, every second Friday, and westbound is Saturday.
Yeah. And it's like you can see on the writing, the routing is from Helsinki to Vainikkala-Buslovskaya crossing point, and then the next noticeable crossing point is Alashankou between China and Kazakhstan. And one important thing to know is that the width of the tracks is the same from our yard in Helsinki all the way to China. So we have only one point in the route that we have to change the platforms, and that's between Kazakhstan and China. Some other routes have 2 points, two different or 3 different track length or widths. Transit time is about 14 days, and as you can see, we have these travel times from the last quarter in this bar graph, and the travel time westbound from Hefei to Helsinki has been between 13 and 15 days, and eastbound it's been between 15 and 17 days. And those are real facts that we know for sure. In the beginning, there were a lot of different kind of issues, let's say last winter and the beginning of the year, that the travel time wasn't consistent. But now since 1st of April, it has been quite consistent, roughly about 14, 15, 16 days. Our customer promise is 18 days, and there are 2 reasons. We want to keep our promises, like everybody in Scandinavia always want to keep the promises. And the second reason is the fact that we have to have a certain buffer for the harsh winter conditions, especially in Alashankou. There's a lot of heavy winds, a lot of snowing, and that can be a problem in the winter time. So we want to have an extra day or 2 to keep our promise. But there you can see how fast it has been running. You had, Marjut, some good news about schedules for potentially for next year.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we have planned to start weekly service starting on January.
Yeah. Our original plan has been that we would start the weekly westbound service from April, but at the moment it looks like that we would be able to do it even sooner. So the target is that we could start maybe in January, February time having a weekly westbound service and maybe bi-weekly eastbound. We all know that there's not the same amount of cargo to both directions. It's no news to anybody in this room. Regarding the other services that we can offer with this train is that we can have a door-to-door deliveries at both ends, including the Scandinavia, including the whole China. We can do, terminal services like packing and unpacking, packing your containers, delivering the container content to several addresses. We have about 72-hour transmit time into the coastal cities in Shanghai. And you name it, there's basically a full range of additional services available. And I think the right lower corner is quite important for all of your customers these days, that this is extremely environmentally friendly way of transporting stuff these days. It's not, maybe 5 years ago it was something that everybody wanted to say, but nobody wanted to see in the money. But these days it's starting to be a bit different. And like I said, the transit time is about 14, 15, 16 days in that range. And this is a picture of our terminal. So this red and grey building is our Vuosaari offices, about 35,000 square meters of terminal spaces. In the background you can see the port. Everybody knows that those are port cranes. Helsinki Vuosaari port is behind our building, and on this side you can see the train. So the point of the picture is that we are actually driving from our yard to Hefei. It's not somewhere else that we have to first carry the containers into a different place and then load them to a train and so on. So it's really coming to Helsinki, and this explains nicely that we have good connections from the port, of course, everywhere. For example, you have now this Rotterdam route available.
Yeah, twice in a week.
Yeah. Was it 20, how many days from Hefei to Rotterdam?
22.
Yeah. So because of the location, we are quite well connected, not only within Finland, but also to the Nordics and Northern European locations. Yeah, it was actually here. I forgot it. But basically, as you can see, from Helsinki, in a couple of days, we can reach a lot of locations. We learned today, this morning, that a Swedish customer with a container business would like to have the container all the way to their yard, and they would like to open the doors. And it's a learning for us, because at the moment in Finland, quite a lot of customers are doing differently. We are getting the container to Vuosaari, we are opening the doors, we are unloading the container, and then delivering, for example, with the semi-trucks to the customer. But that's a different story, and it's an important learning that it's a bit different game. And we had a discussion over the lunch that how can we solve it? Maybe today, who knows? Like said, our other services, terminal services, forwarding, paperwork services, door-to-door deliveries, these all are related to our train today. Do you think, Marjut, any other things that would be important to mention, other services, other extra stuff?
This is what we're doing daily.
Yeah, that's our business at the moment. So we will be here today after this meeting. We will be in the evening party if you are joining also that. Please come and, shake our hands and make your questions. And also in the Q&A, there's time to make questions. But take a picture or something of this, because Marjut is the person to contact at the moment who has the best knowledge if you want to talk and learn more about the train. And as a reminder, follow us, link with us. That's what we want.
Thank you so much, Mikko and Marjut.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was also very educational. So, now we will move into the last part of the seminar, where we will be presenting the Nordicon rail product. And before we get into the rail product, I just want, most of you know about Nordicon, of course, but I just want to give you a short briefing what Nordicon is today. We were established in 2002, so we've been doing this now for 17 years. And we are, and have been for some time now, the largest neutral consolidation company in the Nordic region. We are established in 4 countries, Sweden, Norway, Finland, Denmark. We are 65 staff handling the consolidation, and we are soon reaching our target of 300,000 cubic meters of LCL cargo in and out of the region. That we can do through 95 weekly consolidation services in and out. We are running 67 import and 28 on the export. China, being one of the main trades for us, has always been. We have a long history doing trades and travels in China, and that's where we have built up our foundation and the base. IT, which we maybe will see later also in the presentation, has always been a core for us. We focus on trying to be a little bit step ahead on the IT, and sometimes we succeed, sometimes not. But we have spent a lot of time and money on this and building our own IT system and online tools, etc. So, and now also on the rail. The rail is a core product for us, for sure. This is a pretty big commitment that we have done. We will continue focusing on this and grow the rail business. So here it is, as it's looking right now. As I said, it's a core product for us since 2015. We're talking a lot about neutral. It's very easy to say that you're the biggest when you're neutral. We don't have so many neutral competitors in the Nordic. But it's good, you know, it's keeping the line for us as we are neutral with the consolidation ocean. We only want to work with the freight forwarding companies and the logistic companies, and that is an important word for us. Always, when we have developed the rail in China, we have selected to work with what we believe to be the best partners. I don't know, being a booking agent status in China, meaning that you are an awarded booking agent in that rail hub, that means that you have allocation and you have the right rates. If you're booking with any freight forwarding company saying they have a rail service out of China, probably they will not be a booking agent, so they will be second in chain. So we want to work with the booking agent in China for the rail. A few years ago, which I will tell more about later, we started a network called Railgate together with 3 other neutral consolidation companies in Europe. And the intention with this is to build a European network and a platform also for the freight forwarders using Railgate for rail. Domestic trucking, that's always important. Rail product is very much a door-to-door product. And we are working constantly to develop that in China and Europe. IT tools, which we will see later. My Nordicon Rail is something that we have developed even further now, and it's available through our web. There you can do a lot of things. You can find the rates, you can calculate, you can do bookings, you can find all kind of documents there. You can do tracking and much more. I will show this later as well. And maybe most important is the key persons that we have. The key persons working on the rail product, we have rail teams in each country focusing on this. And I'm just going to see who's here. We can introduce some of you guys. Jesse is here. He is from Norway, and he is the recent employment for Nordicon. You have more than 10 years in the rail business. So he is bringing a lot of rail competence into Nordicon. And then, give them a hand. Why not? You need to move around a bit. Rune, do you want to stand up, eh? From Denmark. He's heading our Danish office in Randers. Tommy will be on the stage later. So Eric, he is the rail guy in Sweden. He's heading the team in Gothenburg. Who else is here? Raise your hand. Jessica is here. Okay. Yeah, we'll take the opportunity for whoever is here. Therese and Mikael, you can stand up as well. And you're connected somehow to the rail. Okay, is there anybody else I'm missing out? Oh, okay, I'll be slept later. Peter is here. Hey. Okay, everyone knows Peter Mike. So, okay, taking a little bit more detailed look on what we are doing then. Starting with the import services. As we said, we focus a lot on the Hefei. On the consolidation, we are focusing in Hefei. We are building 2 departures every week. This is for consolidation. Wednesdays and Saturdays. And we are using these 3 different routes to have that combined. The first one from Hefei then to Helsinki, via Helsinki to Sweden. 16 to 18 days, you will have the cargo at your doorstep. Via Warsaw to Sweden, a little bit longer. Maybe the difference is a little bit the lead time, but also the rehandling process that is taking place in the rail hub. We can deliver to your door in 18 to 20 days. And then we have a third one from Xi'an via Warsaw to Sweden in 18 to 20 days. FCL is a little bit different. We have multiple sailings of opportunities every week. And basically you are choosing from where to where, depending on, in this case, the import from the cargo region. So you're choosing the closest rail hub. And we have contracted rates from all the main hubs into the hubs in Europe and up to Sweden. As I said again, door-to-door domestic trucking system, super important that we have that in line. So this is something we're working constantly with to improve. On the export, consolidation, we are basing that on 2 services. From Sweden via Helsinki to Hefei, the service that the Nurminen was presenting here before, 16 to 18 days. And also from Sweden via Warsaw to Xi'an and Chengdu in 20-24 days. Again, FCL is also flexible, and you need to request an import clearance point of China decide destination. That's depending on where do you want your import clearance to take place in China. Oh, a picture. Yeah, I thought that was a bit funny. I like the helmets. So we were actually there when the first train left from Hefei. And we were there with the agent Asti. And there was a lot of people in there. There was media there, and it was bigger than we thought. We happened to be there for the train departure, and it was pretty fun to see, actually. Here is the CEO of Hefei Rail, I believe is. Huh? Yeah, the guy to the left, I don't know who that is, but that was the guy we found on the street there. Okay, so Tommy, do you want to join me? Give a hand for Tommy.
Hello. Yes.
Yeah.
I was another one there, so.
Yeah, now you see him.
Yeah.
So a unique rail service for the Nordic region. This is what we consider Hefei to Helsinki to be. So Tommy, can you elaborate a little bit that? Why is it so good?
Yeah. Let's start a bit from some kind of background, saying that with Nurminen we have been working with a bit more than 5 years on our ocean consolidation. So that was the base for the whole cooperation when we started with Nurminen. And how we saw it in the beginning was that the time is the most important issue here. And during the years with Nurminen we have been building up the IT systems and structures, meaning that we are online 100% with them. So that was the whole key for the cooperation and the understanding and the knowledge and the needs from the market. So we are getting online information from the Nurminen all the time, so we know where the cargo is moving, especially when it's entering to Helsinki or leaving from Helsinki. So now, as an example, our unloading list and everything, those are shoot directly to the forklifts, pads or tablets. And when the forklift driver or the team of guys are unloading the containers, the forklift driver is pushing button, and our customer is getting the information within 15 seconds that the cargo is unloaded from the container. The same system.
That's pretty online.
Yeah, the same system we have been doing now with our Sweden office for the rail consignments. So this is something unique and remarkable achievement what we have done in order to serve the customers and be really online and knowing where the cargo is all the time. The speed is the key here. So that is the reason why we are, even so that Mikko was promising something about 18 days as a lead time. We using their service, we are promising a bit more. We are in 18 days in Sweden. Sounds unbelievable, but that's how it is.
No, but I mean...
It's only your priority. Yeah.
When you're comparing, I mean, we can compare how the handling in Helsinki is handled, how fast and efficient it is compared to Warsaw, Hamburg, where you often have delays. And this is a big issue for us in Sweden, that the security, that this goes so fast and everything is streamlined, they are online and everything goes like clockwork in Finland. And this is actually one of the biggest advantages that we have using Hefei into Sweden.
Yeah, as you saw from Mikko's picture, the train is coming just next to the terminal, and it is unloaded using by reach trackers, and they are delivering the containers directly to the terminal door. And on top of that, Nurminen is having its own equipment in the yard, where they are able to move the multiple containers there in order to have the efficient handling for the cargo. So we have, so to say, together we have built up a system which is assisting all of you and all of our customers in Finland as well.
Good. Thanks.
Yeah, Mikko was mentioning about that one, the first point here, so no need to go there. As we have a knowledge from how the system and structures are working in Poland and Hamburg, so we know what the transit times are there and where are the Achilles heels, so to say, in those routes. Because in China, more or less, everything is the same, no matter which rail hub you are using or from where you are departing or so on. So we know that in Poland you have problems with terminal equipment, you have problems with sufficient terminals, you have long queues, you have whatever you can imagine. But and we have, so to say, tried to learn from those mistakes, so to say, what we call mistakes, is done in those other rail hubs in Europe, and tried to do something differently, those things in Helsinki, together with Nurminen, of course. Nurminen plays a huge role here in the whole chain. Without them, we are not able to operate, so to say. And on the ocean side, when we have been, or we are still carrying some goods via Sweden to Finland and from Finland to Sweden, we have the knowledge about the trucking systems and how the trucks are working and what truckers should be used. Of course, for you, we need to offer, so to say, neutral services from the trucker side as well. You don't want to have your competitor's truck coming to your customer's yard delivering the goods. So we know, or at least we believe very highly, what is your needs for rail transportation. And so the stability, everything is there, and then must highlight once again about the knowledge what we have, which we have built up during the years. First from ocean, and then in the beginning on the rail side, we were receiving a lot of education from our other friends, especially from the Baltics, and must say that in the beginning we didn't know what we were doing. We were learning by doing, and in the end of the day, the customers themselves, they was giving us a lecture of what to do and what they were expecting and so on. And also, we know you are handling a lot of air freight, so from that side we were learning a lot, and we have put them into the practice. Both Linus and Mikko was mentioning about the services both on this side and on the China side for our import. Our statistics is showing that about 50% of the cargo, the terms is ex-works, so completely different than on the ocean side, where we, especially having the forwarders clients, the market is completely FOB. So this means that our systems and structures in China needs to be in order to catch up all the closing times and loadings and everything. So I can assure that this part for us is in order, and we have put a lot of attention for that, and we have been trying to, and we have been there on site to saw how they are doing it, and trying to give our Scandinavian perspective how they should do the things and so on.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Tommy, for enlightening us about Helsinki.
Thank you.
Yeah. Just a quick comparison here between the three different transport modes, air freight, rail, and ocean. And to compare them a little bit, we're talking about a transit time door to door. This is of course average, but 6 days or 16 to 18 days versus 40 days. And the cost ratio is, as you know, quite big as well. Environmental impact also has something to say here. So it's all depending on what kind of cargo you have, which transport mode you use, of course. High value cargo, yeah, tends to go more on air freight. And but I think now that rail is coming up as a very, very good mid alternative, because now it's stable, it's trustworthy, the rates don't go up and down, so everything has been more structured now. So this is a transport mode to trust in the future, for sure. So let's skip drop a little bit to my Nordicon. We have spent a lot of time to develop our IT tools for you all, for all the customers to be able to go online and use our tools. And now we will, within short, come up with a new version of my Nordicon, where you can, of course, do all these things, calculate and book, and so you have been able to do this before as well. We have upgraded the My Nordicon, and there are more functions now, and it's definitely working on rail equally as ocean. So, yeah, we'll see a small video clip here to see you how the My Nordicon, the new one, can be operated.
Audio Jungle.
Something happened. That's good. So you could see easily there that we want to make any kind of transportation from door to door easy. We want to simplify it, and we are working with these tools, you know, over and over and over again. One thing that was mentioned in that short presentation there, I don't know if you saw it, but it was something called MOST. MOST is a puck, a sensor. Mobile sensory technology is MOST. We are on the rail containers right now. We're always assembling one of those MOST pucks. That will not only give you the location, it's much more than that. It will give you the temperature, the light, the humidity, and the shock. So for specific types of commodities, you can actually purchase this puck for a single shipment, and we will then assemble that to your cargo. And then you can at all time, in real time, always see what is the temperature of my cargo, what is the humidity around my cargo. And you can even see, let's say that the container would have been dropped in the ground. You can actually see that on the chain, where you location chain, you can see exactly where did that shock happen. So there are many, many different ways of using this MOST. Nordicon is the exclusive agent for MOST in the Nordic region. And we are offering this as a product when we're selling LCL transports, but we will also be able to sell it to any transportation company. And you can buy a batch of it. If we don't do it in the Nordicon service, it will be looking like MOST in general, their company, the company MOST. But if it's connected to a Nordicon transport, then it will look like this. And you can follow everything in real time online, like this. After you're leaving here, when you're having your coffee outside, we have Alexander here, please stand up, from MOST. And he will be standing out there showing you the puck and explaining all the details for you more in detail. Railgate, this was also something that was mentioned. We have Nordicon, why do we enter into something called Railgate? But in 2017, we talked to some of our consolidation friends in Europe, namely BCL, Austromaren, and VO. They are all neutral consolidators in ocean. They were also equally to us interested to develop the rail product. And of course, you can continue developing in your individual country. But here we came together and we said, let's start a rail brand that we all can work under. The intention with this is in the long run to be established all over Europe and having railgate representations all over Europe and having a common platform. So any freight forwarder that might have, let's say, 100 offices in Europe, they can make a centralized agreement with Railgate and they can access the platform where they can do same things as they can do on the Nordicon one. It's just that it's reaching out all across Europe. So we are now at 16 countries with Railgate. The rail product forwarding and logistic companies, this is the focus for us, same as for any consolidation that we do. And here are the rail consolidations that we are running at the moment, direct, under the name of Railgate. We're using ASTI as a strategic partner in China, but we are also working with other agents. And in beginning of this year, actually, the company in Poland was registered. So we have one separate owned Railgate office in Warsaw. And they are involved in developing the rail services in Poland, and they are also handling those when it comes to Warsaw. Okay, here is a short film that will, let's see if you get the message.
Railgate combine local strength and experience from local neutral consolidation companies into one unique network of European rail services.
It's a venture from companies we are working with, together with friends, and we have the same passion to build up a new company specialized in rail.
There is a need from the forwarders to have a neutral body who is serving them in the best way.
Every time when we meet our customers, they are really glad that we work only with them without including direct consignees.
This company cooperates only with freight forwarders, not with direct receivers and direct shippers.
I would love to work with a company who is absolutely neutral, and this is what we do, and this is the way we earn the trust and respect.
It's a lot of new opportunities serving China to Northern Europe, and we are part of that.
I would say that this is a success of 4 leading NVOCCs in Europe. Neutrality is a great thing, which tells our customers that we respect the relationships that they build with their customers. We will do everything to protect those relationships, and we will never approach their customers with whom they're working.
We need to respect our customer base. We need to stay 100% neutral, only working with the freight forwarders. That has been our core business in the founding companies, and it will be the same for the rail product.
I don't believe that we will stop in Europe only, so we are expanding. This is just the low start for us, and it will be expanding way more.
Railgate is neutral.
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 Railgate is completely neutral.
Railgate is absolutely 100% neutral.
Wow, what was the message there? Okay, that was actually it. We have been going on for 1 hour, and maybe we will take another 5 minutes maximum, and if there are any questions, please feel free to ask any questions. Anyone? We should have prepared that to choose 1 or 2 that is at least having some questions. No one? Huh? Sorry? That is being discussed actually. If the trains, to have speed trains or faster trains and so on. So I believe so, yes. I mean, this is a hot topic that is being discussed, to have faster trains. Absolutely. Do you want to come up or no? It depends if there are any questions, but...
Hello? Yeah, I would answer for that question by saying that first we should try to find all the bottlenecks on the route to get few more days savings on that side before moving to the fast trains.
Yeah,
that is a bigger issue.
Definitely, you can lose a lot of time in the different kind of points in the traffic, not actually running the trains. Well, at the moment, of course, building tracks is something that the governments will do and so on. But if you look at the congestion situation, my understanding, which is somewhat true or somewhat, facts, is that of course there's a lot more traffic to the Central Europe via Poland and so on. So there's a lot more congestions, and there's quite a big gap somewhere I think in Kazakhstan or Poland or somewhere where there's only one track. So there are situations when the trains are really waiting. The other, which is quite congested, is the old, what is this called, this Trans-Siberian, this northern route. Because in the winter time, the coal, because of the heating of Russian, is prioritized. So if it's cold, it's January, you need the coal, everybody else is waiting. That's the reality how it goes in the. So this our route that we have selected is at the moment we don't have any traffic jams, but who knows?
But isn't it more so that it's the bottlenecks at the rail hubs rather than expanding with more tracks, which is taking many years.
Border crossings and what?
Exactly.
One of our main problems in the beginning was from Vainikkala to Helsinki with the local, Finnish governmental railways. That was the bottleneck in the beginning.
And also need to remember that this is the only route where you have both eastbound and westbound, giving more or less the same transit time. On the other routes, the imports to the Europe is prioritized, and export trains to the China are waiting those.
And then if you look at it from the Chinese perspective, it's more important to have export towards China. And it's important for the continuation of the route that you take both directions into consideration.
Absolutely. Anything else? Anders? Sorry?
At the moment,
not as we know, no. I don't know if
more Japan and Korea are on table at this stage, and Vietnam as well. But there are some problems, technical problems on the customs clearances and so on. And on the other hand, the more south you go, then the transit time advantage is disappearing as well.
But of course, there are opportunities to connect the other countries. Of course, we made an attempt once for Japanese import to Finland via Vladivostok, TSR over. So there are, of course, possibilities, but as Tommy is saying, I think Japan and Korea is more likely than other parts.
Yeah, and then we are talking about Trans-Siberian Railway, not this route.
No, different. Anders?
Yes, I have a question about subsidies. I was going to ask if Railgate was neutral, but I had a backup question.
Oh, now I'm getting scared. Okay.
No, I have a question about subsidies, right? Because everyone in this room, I think, is well aware that the Chinese government, local and regional and national, have been subsidizing railway transport for quite some time. Right?
Yep.
But we've seen that trend now finally been starting to reverse. First, we had the cap on no subsidies for trains leaving with empty cars. Now we have a ceiling of 40% max subsidization of the total route transport price. Reportedly 30% from next year, and then a phase out until 2022, when the goal is 0%. Who knows if those goals
Exactly, who knows?
Right?
Yeah.
But what's the level of worry from you guys about the cargo starting to shift back to either accepting a longer transit time on ocean or accepting a more expensive price on railway as the price of difference sort of starts skewing a bit away from rail transportation?
It's a difficult question to answer, of course, but I think that it's if the subsidies will go down, they will be reduced for sure, and there might be a switch. There might be a switch that is becoming a little bit more expensive for some time, and then maybe some low-value cargo will go back to the ocean again. But again, what many people are talking about is how are we increasing the cost efficiency in handling the rail to compensate for the reduced subsidies. And I think that is maybe the key. The rail is here to stay, but there needs to be some changes and improvement in the systems in how rail is being handled.
Yeah, and I think that's an important question. I think one of important viewpoint is that the way how subsidizing these routes is first coming down is by cutting routes, not by cutting the subsidies for everybody. In Chinese, and they are following really carefully that what is good route for both directions. You have to have the eastbound and westbound and real cooperation, and we have been focusing on that quite strongly from the beginning, and they are going to go away. eventually. But we have the understanding that it's still a process of many years, not a process of months.
And for us as a consolidator, we are at least trying to develop our services together with the real rail operator that we are there to stay.
Yes, about the subsidies, Linus also asked me this issue the other day, and I think Linus gave an excellent answer to that question. You are business people. Many of you have more than 10 years, 20 years experience in this sector or other sectors. You all know that in any country, subsidies will not last.
It's a temporary.
It's temporary, and the core is to improve the service, to improve the efficiency, and be prepared for that. But China is a huge country, huge market. There are about a dozen very important hubs for China-Europe Railway Express. And Linus asked me also which one of them will be more important or will be the core of, will be the hub of the hubs. Well, in my presentation, I tried to give you a picture that China's economy and the European economy, there are great potentials. I can give you another figure. It's according to the World Bank. In 2018, China's GDP reached 13.6 trillion US dollars. And it's 22% of the world's whole GDP. We are the world's second largest economy. The United States is the first. The United States GDP was 20.4 trillion US dollars. And China's GDP in 2018 was equivalent to Eurozone's GDP. It's the same, 13.6 trillion US dollars. So these two huge economies, there are great potentials. So the subsidies will go down, but there are many. Maybe the door is closed, but there are many windows are still there to be open.
Yeah, so good explanation there. Okay, something else? Reefers. Good question.
Not for consolidation, at least.
Okay.
It's not a technical problem at all. We could do it today. But the problem is about what can cross Russia at the moment in the food products. Yeah, it's getting easier. But I think it was 1st of July when Russia was assigning this new order or law, whatever it was, that you can travel with the food products more freely. But it hasn't taken actions at the border controls yet. So that has to happen first, and then it can. But we are like this close of starting with pork meat.
Good. Okay, then we are a few minutes past 1, and I just want to thank you all for coming. It's fantastic to see so many people coming here, and as you realize, we had to change the venue room. We could not fit in the first one. It was only 130 seats, and I think we're close to 200 people today. So thank you all so much for coming. Thank you, Mr. Hui, for coming. Thank you, Nurminen, Tommy, and all of you. Have a great day.